Mi Isla, How Puerto Rico Shows Resilience. My name is Thalia Gavilanes. An island that 3.2 million people call home and 8 million people globally, and this includes descendants, most of which are now predominantly located in mainland America. We know it as, like Brooklyn has a lot of Puerto Ricans. Roughly 300 animals and plants occupy the island of Puerto Rico, many of them rare and unique, like the Ziwaka parrot. Puerto Rico was founded in 1508 and currently 100 miles long, full of vibrant and spectacular people and food. But the island of Puerto Rico has constantly struggled to gain independence from America and stability after natural disasters, and now their land is at risk in more ways than just natural disasters or bad weather. Dangerous tropical storms are a yearly event. Hurricane Fiona, being the most recent in 2022, damaged 50% of transmission lines and distribution feeders across Puerto Rico, as hundreds and thousands went without food or water services almost 2 weeks after the storm hit. In 2017, after another devastating storm, the mayor of Puerto Rico's capital, San Juan, described now former President Trump's visit to the hurricane-hit island as an insult when he threw toilet paper to the victims of the storm like he was just joking around. But just joking around is how the mainland American government treats their territories, especially Puerto Rico. Puerto Rico has held 6 referendums on the topic, separating from the U.S., and they were all turned down. Yet Puerto Ricans did not stop, and on November 2022, they held another non-binding referendum with a 52.52% majority opting for statehood. And although it is not a solution, the beating drums will keep empowering the people to never give up. What makes Puerto Rican politics so complex is that they were only ever given 3 options. They were always given statehood, independence, or retaining status, none of which were an all-encompassing solution for an ever-changing island. Statehood, being the first, would admit the Puerto Rican island as the 51st state in the Union. The island would receive increased financial help and Social Security from the U.S. government, but it loses its current constitution, which is distinct from the U.S. Constitution. In 2012, 61.2% of Puerto Rican voters voted for statehood over remaining a commonwealth. In 2017, 97% chose to stay with statehood over independence or commonwealth status, and in 2022, about 53% of voters opted for statehood, which is what we get to see today. Independence, being the next one, would mean that Puerto Rico would become an independent country. It would gain complete and total control over self-governance, but it would likely struggle economically, as it is separated from the United States. Proponents of total independence were behind the 47% of voters who rejected statehood, and in 2022, as well as 2017 with a small voter turnout, only because nationalists boycotted the 2017 referendum. Last would be retaining Commonwealth status. Puerto Rico would remain a Commonwealth of the United States. Some Puerto Ricans have proposed enhanced Commonwealth status, which would increase the island's power of self-rule while retaining a relationship with the United States, or sovereign-free associated state status, under which Puerto Rico would function as an independent country with strong ties to the U.S. The latter options have appeared on referendums infrequently to have enough of a change, which is what Puerto Rico is yearning for at this moment. This is why the 6th referendum in 2022 was a small success, because in 2021 came H.R. 1522, or the Puerto Rican Statehood Admissions Act. And with heads held high, Puerto Ricans prepared to combat a new threat: millionaires. American millionaires, especially crypto millionaires, have grown interested in the small island of Puerto Rico, but not for its natural beauty of it, but rather the tax deduction that they can cash in on. Behind, we saw a crypto millionaire who decided to go to Puerto Rico, and by building on the land and not respecting the same controls that typical homes are built with, they destroyed some areas of trees and plants that were really important to the delicate ecosystem. Act 60, which offers tax savings to qualifying residents. In the US, investors pay as much as 37% on short-term capital gain and up to 20% on long-term gain, which applies to crypto and other assets held for more than a year. One of the tax breaks under Act 60, known as the Individuals Investors Act, drops that tax obligation down to zero if certain qualifications are met. This is especially huge for entrepreneurs and crypto traders, but this privilege is only for the mainland American people. Puerto Ricans from Puerto Rico, we know as Bad Bunny, can't cash in on Act 60, so it actually doesn't benefit the people of Puerto Rico at all. Behind those gray walls that we saw in the last clip, it is clear that the progress is to divide a once unified island. And with such a delicate ecosystem, that's dangerous. But projects such as Together Puerto Rico and Global Giving have helped the people of Puerto Rico immensely, further proving that Puerto Ricans are a force to be reckoned with. A quote from Together Puerto Rico's main mission is to distribute water feeders and filters and solar light to the hardest hitting areas. Many people do not have electricity, face regular blackouts, and buy bottled water instead of using a filter. This is absolutely not a negative judgment on mainland America, but rather a beacon of awareness for the island and its people. Because it is only 100 miles long, filled with 3.2 million people who are never afraid to fight for what they know is to be theirs. And then here are my references and my contact information if anybody is interested. In a moment. Thank you very much.
All right.
Thalia, where did you source your video? Is any of that your own video or friends or family?
I got them from clips that we actually saw coming in on our news channels.
Oh, okay.
So many of the clips is what we see our side. The pictures at the end are the pictures that are being seen and taken on the island itself. So we're getting to see the juxtaposition of what mainland and the island are basically showing in their mainstream media. Another clip that I would like to highlight is the video that showed the man driving around the little barriers of the barrio. And the concrete wall, which I spoke about, actually on one side has all the one percenters of the Puerto Rican island, while on the other side are the mainland traditional people. And people that come from Puerto Rico to, I'm from Brooklyn, so from Brooklyn to Puerto Rico or vice versa, they actually say that that part of the island gets locked down at certain hours because of the dangerous, or what they perceive to be dangerous for the tourists. And it's quite ironic because the island is actually being made safe for only the tourists, not for the people. So when we see clips like a beautiful, glorious island with water that has bioluminescence in it, it's only what we get to see, not what the islanders get to see. So yeah, very, very important to see both sides of the story always. Thank you.
Questions? Yes.
I was wondering how capital interests work in the island of Puerto Rico. Do you find that most of the business owners, most officials, like raw materials in Puerto Rico happen to be American businessmen, and are like native Puerto Ricans relegated to just labor? I was wondering.
That's a really fantastic question, actually. So a lot of the big conglomeracies that are in Puerto Rico are mainland American companies. The crypto millionaire that I had shown previously, when he moved his family of four to the island in an enclosed gated community away from the native people, he actually said, oh, this is such a wonderful place for a new factory, because they wanted to continue mining cryptocurrency, not giving any consideration to the global problems that it will create for them, because it won't just be just weather, it will be resources that they're taking away from the island. They don't get resources as we do, because the trades and weather sometimes can be bad. And for the companies that do stay stable on the island. It's not that they have good workers, it's just that they don't have enough spending for them to give back out because the people are so poor. They're not really spending money. There's also another stereotype that Puerto Rican men, they'll do 6 months in America, like mainland, and then they'll do 6 months on the island collecting unemployment. Because collecting unemployment for 6 months in America on minimum wage is more finances and income that they'll receive on the island if they work a whole year in one of the companies owned by a Puerto Rican native. So it's sort of like the bottleneck effect. How much can you take away until the people suffocate themselves? And not because they want to, but because they are not given the resources to expand or breathe as a nation. And that's also really dangerous when trying to instill proper values and financial values on the Puerto Rican people, because they don't know how to practice with that if they're not given the opportunity.